Hello,
Coño, con
how's it
click y
going?
todo.
Con click y todo. Hey James, how are you?
I'm well.
Cool. So
Hey,
we're gonna do like this fake live. So we're gonna pretend we're live because this show is broadcasted in Mexico City morning. So
Yeah.
we're gonna pretend to go live and to listen to some Big Thief songs.
Sweet.
So, man, how's your Spanish? Because it's all gonna be in Spanish, so you know.
Un poco.
Un poco.
Ah, bueno,
Yeah.
bastante bueno.
Everybody knows tequila and tacos. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can pick up a little of it, but not much.
All right.
Have you ever been to Mexico before?
I've been to Mexico once. I was it was in high school. I studied bata drums, like from Cuba, and there was an expat from Cuba who was living in Mexico who I went to study with. So I spent a week playing bata all day.
Sick, you have to come back with your band now.
Oh man, I really want to go, man. That's like one of the big places for me.
Yeah, it would be amazing because, well, we've been listening to the singles nonstop, and now that we got the album, we heard the full album finally, which you produced, which is really cool. Why did you decide to self-produce the album?
It was sort of like it was kind of natural. Like we had sort of started talking about ideas a little bit as a band, just on tour, just shooting the shit. I don't know if I can curse or not. And so we had like, maybe record some different places. There was a couple little things floating around that I was just thinking about it all the time. Like, how should we do this? It'd be so cool. And I just had this idea of like, like different engineers and like all these different places, and we can do different songs at different times and just like record it all and like not worry about it till the end. And so I kind of had this concept. And so I was like, I don't know, it sounds like a production concept. Maybe I should see if I should produce it. And so I thought about it a little bit and then asked the band, and they were like, yeah, let's do it.
What was your debut as a producer? Was it your first time producing?
I produced like, it's not my first time producing. Like I'm not like a seasoned veteran or anything, but like I've been like co-producing Megablog albums for the last couple of years and like other people's albums. And I've always sort of been, I'm coming from like an engineering background, so I've mixed and engineered a lot of stuff. So I know the vibe of it, like the kind of the role and everything. But yeah, it was definitely different. That like it was kind of the most full on like thing I've done in terms of that realm, like just logistics with COVID and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah,
and it's hard, right? Because it's your music. I mean, it's like you feel a little bit more pressure, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's like you're in it, yeah. Which is, sometimes that's like kind of why you want a producer is they're not in it, and they can tell you when it's happening or not. But I don't know. I felt comfortable enough sort of with my perspective in it. But yeah, it was different. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of work, but it was really great.
And it's a really long album because it's 20 songs long. And actually, last year when you released, or this year actually, when you released the singles in Simulation Swarm, I thought that was the album. 7 songs in it.
Yeah.
And then Fran told me like, hey man, I just sent you the new Big Thief album before it gets released. And I was like, no, it already got released.
Totally. Yeah. And we recorded like 45 songs, I think.
Wow.
Okay.
This is like the narrowed down version.
Do you think
there's just a lot? There's a lot,
But it's great because nowadays bands used to like just release basically singles and then name it an EP after some 4 or 5 singles.
Lazy bands?
Lazy bands or whatever. But you guys have 20 songs. Well, you have 45 songs recorded, and then the album is 20 songs. But it could have been 2 albums, right? So why did you? Because nowadays people, I think like the way people listens to music right now, it's hard for them to make them listen to that long album. They barely listen to 4 or 5 songs. And one of the things that surprises me the most about this one is that you know, you always expect like 2 or 3 good songs from an album, but this one is like, okay, it's a new big thick single and it's so exciting, and then the next one is better than the last one, and it's, you know, how do you guys manage to do that thing? It's so complicated, and also self-produced. It's just like, well, I'm not saying this just because I'm doing the interview, but I really mean it.
Yeah.
It's a great record, and it's, you know, so many great songs. And actually, we were speaking about this before the interview to pick the songs that we were playing on this show, and it was like, damn, dude, they are so good, all of them. Well, we should pick like 2 or 3 songs only. So
yeah.
I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, we don't kind of, our sort of guiding principle with it is just like, you know, do what feels good to us and what kind of supports the music. And like, so it kind of was just, the reason it's a 20-song record is just because Adrian had all these songs. And so it was sort of like, man, like we could divide it up and like milk it and have it. And it's just like, but it's like, I kind of wanted to, my sort of idea from the beginning is like, show the different sides of Adrian's writing and of Adrian's playing just like next to each other, rather than having to be this separate thing of like, this is the serious album, this is like the raw album, like this is the funny album. It's just like, she's kind of all those things all the time, you know. That's just like, she has like, and all of us are these like multitudes of personalities. It's not just like this one vibe we're trying to present. So I was just like, we should just have it all, you know, all right next to each other, just like some lo-fi shit and then some like big stuff, and just like everything could just be like, you know, side by side, you know, fuck it.
But the good thing about it is that you got like a B-side that you can sell in 10 years, you know.
You have 25 B-sides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
archives going.
maybe you guys thinking on that in the future, right? Because you got a lot of material and.
Yeah, we've got some ideas of what to do with it. There'll be some. Me and Adrian actually had some good ideas recently, but yeah, I mean, we also didn't want to like overwhelm. For a while, we were like, should we just put out all 45? And it was just like, I don't know, man. That's a lot of stuff to listen to. Like, I don't think I would listen to that if I was a big fan. Like, I'd listen to like the first couple hours, and then I'd just be like, wow, I need a fucking break, you know. So it's like trying to figure out what actually.
But maybe in a while, you know, in 5 years,
or
10
like
years.
in 30 years.
Yeah, like Radiohead.
Or like Pavement. They just released a record with songs recorded like 30 or 20 years back, and it's great, you know. And it's like, how did they have that good song like hidden for a long time? So I bet, I wish I could hear your demos or your 25 other recordings, because there must be great songs there too.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, I think we'll figure something out. I don't want to be like 70 and like pulling some like dusty archive off the shelf. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, listening to the album, it was really entertaining. It wasn't just like an album that you can, I don't know, play Xbox while you listen to it. You actually have to pay attention to this album because it changes a lot, as you just said. Well, first in Time Escaping, I didn't know what the instruments were. It was so weird. I tried to figure out what is this, and I had no idea. Then, well, Little Things has the most amazing bass line ever in a Big Thief song. And Blur View is like, you chose like a more electronic side, and then you also have like a really folk side, and sounds like Promises a Pendulum, you know. Like, you did everything. So I was wondering about the recording process. Did you record this all this stuff in one studio or different studios, and how long did it take to record something like this? Yeah, we recorded it in like 4 different studios. So like, and in each different studio, we recorded like a completely different batch of songs. So we kind of divided up the songs, all the songs Adrienne was working with and that she thought was like the shit for the album, into like more focused sessions. So it wasn't this sprawling thing in the moment, you know what I mean? So it was like at one studio, we'd just be working on like 10 songs or 11 songs, and it would all be on like an 8-track tape machine and would have a certain sound to it, you know, and we're playing off that sound. And if we have other songs in our head, we're like, oh, that one's really good, but it doesn't really fit this. We don't have to think about it. We'll just be like, we'll get it at the next one. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of tricking ourselves in some ways to not just feel like
overwhelmed with how much material there was, because that can kind of freeze you a little bit if you're like looking at a big list and trying to think like, oh, but that one's my favorite. Like we have to do that one. It's like this, we kind of like gave it enough time where it's like everyone's favorite will get done when the time is right. You know what I mean? And so we had like different fidelities at different studios. Like some was like proper hi-fi, you know, like nice tape machine, nice mics, you know, crisp. And then some was just like the last studio in Tucson, it wasn't a studio, it was just like our friend Scott's room. And he didn't even have enough mic stands, you know? And it was just like, we were like taping stuff to like cardboard boxes like the old days. And it was just like, this is great. Cause at that point we needed that vibe. Just like, who fucking cares? Like, it'll be fine, you know?
Totally, James. So let's hear a song. Let's hear Sput Infinity, and we will come back with James. Estamos escuchando aquí a James the Big Thief y vamos a escuchar Sput Infinity y ya regresamos. Okay,
that was fake.
Okay, let's continue the interview just to add the song in Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, James, and where are you? Where is your home?
Yeah, I'm in my home in Los Angeles, California.
Nice.
Seems cold inside.
It is a little cold inside. It's been getting, I mean, it's beautiful outside right now. It's like sunny and in the 60s, but I live sort of up in the mountains a little bit, so it gets in the 40s at night right now.
Cool. So James, I have to say that this year, last year, not this year because we're already in 2022, but last year, one of the saddest days of the year for us was the day of the Pitchfork Fest. We were upstairs at the office, and we were looking and watching the Pitchfork Fest through streaming, and then we had to leave to a venue to watch, you know, a live show here, and it was precisely the time when Big Thief was coming to stage. So we were like very, very sad because we were like waiting for that moment, and then it's like, oh shit, we have to go. So that's something we regret, and this was not a question, this was just an anecdote, but Alex can tell you more about it.
Yeah, well, we were there at the office and you started playing and we had to leave for the show.
We watched it like two songs. It was just like two songs, and it was like, oh fuck, why do we have to go?
It was a good set. I broke my kick drum halfway through it. Like I kicked right through the middle of it during Not, like at the beginning of the song Not. Yeah. And so it's this like rocking song, you know, and I like just like playing, so yes, great. And like I just feel like it just gets stuck, and I'm like sort of like looking down and shit. I'm like, oh, and I'm kind of trying to feel it and just sort of keep in time, like trying to be cool. And it was like fully punctured, you know, like not like, and so I was just like, I had like seconds of like trying. I was like, all right, bass drum's broken. So I was like 20 seconds of trying out like different beats. I was like, what is going to work? And I eventually just bashed, you know, just like.
Were you angry that day? Were you angry that
time?
Were you angry?
Like, it was the only thing that sounded good. I was like, I tried playing on the floor time. I was like, everything else sounded weak. I was just like, I think I just got to bash for like 6 minutes and it'll be awesome.
But you play smooth. Like it seems you play smooth. Like you don't have to hit the drum so hard, but you broke the bass drum so hard. Were you angry? Were you pissed that day?
I must have been playing a little harder that day. I mean,
you were excited.
I don't like take care of my drums, so like I'd literally never changed that head ever in Big Thief.
Oh really?
Like 6 years of touring.
Okay.
Like, it was the first time it broke. So it was like shocking. I was just like, I just thought it would never break.
That's why.
So it was time.
Was that the first Big Thief show after the lockdown? Probably was that.
One of the first. Yeah. It was like maybe the third. I think we played a couple before it, but yeah, it was one of the first. We did a little tour like around it, so we played a few before and then like a couple weeks after. Yeah.
I mean, watching it on TV, it felt like shows were finally back. like you could see a full crowd, like a big crowd for the first time in a while. And Mexico, well, it took a while after the Pitchfork Fest to actually have festivals that big. But I was wondering, after lockdown, and you as a musician, how did it feel to go back and play live shows that big and not just like small shows?
Yeah. It felt, it felt like a lot of things. Like we played, we did like a warm-up show. Like our first show we played was like in the desert, just at a friend's house in California. It's like, basically like a party. Like it was like 50 people, very low key, just like our friends' bands and us, just to like do one that was like for us and not for like a crowd or like for the public, And it was weird. Like it felt like overall it felt amazing, and it just felt like natural, like kind of like remembering like, oh yeah, like, because it's different making a record. Like you're making music and you're a musician, but like when you actually play for people, you're like, like people want to hear music, I can play it.
Like this is real.
This is like, it feels very just like, oh yeah, we're like people, like this is what happens. We play music, people listen to it, some people play it, people have fun, have emotions. Whereas a record can start to feel like pretty fucking abstract after a while, where you're like talking about snare drum EQ, you know what I mean? And like vibe and just like, and like, it just starts to get weird. And like, it definitely felt just like completing the circle a bit to actually start playing again, of just remembering like, oh yeah, like music.
It must be weird
music.
It must be weird to find a different snare sound for 45 songs.
A lot of snare sounds going on. Yeah. You start to lose your mind when you're just thinking about like sonics for a year,
Did you care about it, or you're a gear freak and have a lot of drums and snare drums, or you just play with it's on there?
Right. It's weird. It's like I do and I don't. Like I definitely used to not care at all. Like I used to for myself, like I didn't even have a drum set when I lived in New York. Our old manager, Bob, gave me the drum set that I still use now. But at the same time, I used to be like an engineer in like studios and stuff. And like in that realm, I really, it is interesting. And obviously it's very important to the sound, but it's one of those weird things where like it matters so much, yet it also doesn't matter at all. You know what I mean? Like it's great to play an instrument that sounds good. But if an instrument doesn't sound good and you have the right attitude, it can sound odd. It's like about your perspective and attitude more so than the thing. But I do love nice gear too and studio stuff,
Yeah, we all do. The recording drums is really hard, and always you are thinking maybe I should pitch up the snare or what the song needs, and that's why I asked, because I really feel that you care about the sound, because it got a lot of heart, your drumming.
Yeah. I definitely I have like specific opinions on sound too, and like if it doesn't sound good, like I just don't like it, it's like pretty simple. It's not like I can't be like convinced of like a crappy drum sound if it's possible to get a good one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's like what you're working with, then you gotta let go and like adapt. But I like the sound of, it's like, and I love old recordings and the way like a lot of old drummers sound and were recorded and stuff.
Yeah. And now that you say this, your drums actually sound like really natural. They sound like human, which is really important. I was listening to the album and thought like, okay, how did he recorded drums? Did he just record it with one mic, or how did he made it sound so natural, Because nowadays music is so overproduced and it doesn't feel human anymore. And listening to Big Thief, you have that old school feeling about like it's actually a human being playing.
Playing right, because many people doesn't know how to play anymore.
No, that's like a pretty, I think that's part of what makes us good. So it's like a part of our sound I want to bring out, but also, it's like, I like the sound of of people, playing music, like, and like you can just tell when it's just like this like abrasive, like, sound replaced quantized drum thing, and it's like why even like have like a drum set at that point? Like just electronic music is awesome. Just like go electronic. Yeah, a lot of music. I mean, I think like so much recorded music now just sounds fucking terrible to my ears.
But you guys are trained musicians, right? Because it feels like you guys know how to play an instrument. It's
it sounds like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a complex. There are complex songs. It's like not that easy at all.
Yeah, it's like we have all like studied music or been very focused on it in our own ways, and like so there is like that, but like a lot of it is like kind of like going through that gauntlet a little bit and then like trying to forget a lot of it. Like I went to music school and like studied drums, like jazz, like swinging, and after that, and was like trying to find my voice and played all sorts of stuff, like, and like a lot of Cuban percussion too. And I had to like take a break for a couple of years. Like I just didn't play drums. I was just recording people and working at studios, and I just like burnt out a little bit. And when I came back, I was just so much better from having not played, from having just forgotten and like let go of the shit that wasn't actually me, and coming back to it and just being like, what do I actually like to hear? And like what it feels good, and like what sounds natural, and like versus like copying people or like thinking you're not good, and just, it was weird. I had like a confidence boost from not playing drums for a long time.
Well, but so the new record is called Dragon New Warm Mountain, I believe in you, right?
Yes.
And it's out February 11th. Am I right?
Yes.
So very soon. So well, congratulations, because I think like the two parts of music, well, you can have amazing sound but terrible songs, and you can have great songs and terrible sound, but this record has great songs and great sound. So congratulations on your new album, and of course we have to ask if your guys are coming to Mexico soon or not.
We were trying to, for sure. Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure it's in the works. We're trying to figure out some stuff for the end of this year, and like we really want to. We really want to get there. We really want to play. Like just generally and like specifically in Mexico. And I mean, we've never been to South America. We've never been to like Japan. There's like a handful of places where it's like, oh my God, if music could take us there. That would be amazing,
I'm sure it will.
It will. And you will have a great time down here, because we are like crazy people and very friendly, very friendly. You will have a good time.
Yeah, you could totally stay on my couch, so don't worry.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's really comfortable. I sleep there.
Okay, well, thank you so much, James, and thank you for joining, and well, good luck with this album.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay.
Well, we will hear Simulations Farm. That is your last single, and thank you so much, James, and I hope you come soon to Mexico.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Later, y'all.
Bueno, vamos a escuchar